Gentlemen, the independence of the Congo is the crowning moment of the mission conceived by the genius of King Leopold II, undertaken by him with courageous tenacity and pursued with great perseverance by Belgium.
King Baudouin made a speech in which he exalted the role of Belgium, talking about everything Belgium had brought to the Congo. He said we had arrived at a moment when Belgium had decided to grant the Congo its independence, and that this was well and good. I would say it was a classic speech for such circumstances. Kasavubu made a speech thanking King Baudouin. He talked about the Congo and the future. It was a good speech, too. Lumumba hadn't been scheduled to speak. The whole international press was there. Suddenly he got up, walked to the tribune, and made a speech.
Lumumba's speech came as a shock. Nobody was expecting it, and it shocked lots of Belgians. He systematically condemned Belgian colonization. He repeated all the harshest anti-colonial accusations. We'd cut off people's hands, we'd enslaved them, and all that sort of thing.
You who have fought for independence and are today victorious, I salute you in the name of the Congolese government. I salute all my friends who fought relentlessly at our sides. We have been subjected to insults and sarcasms, to the blows we had to endure from morning to night just because we were Africans. We learned that the law was never the same according to whether it was applied to whites or blacks. Who will ever forget the shootings or the barbarous jail cells awaiting those who refused to submit to this regime of injustice, oppression and exploitation?
That was really the decisive moment when he made that famous speech on the 30th of June 1960. A lot of people then said he signed his death warrant with that speech because the Belgian government didn't want him. Not just because of the 30th of June speech, but because he was Patrice Lumumba, and he didn't fit in with the hopes of the Belgians and Americans and many people in business.
Only 5 days after the founding of the new state, a revolt broke out in the army. The black troops rebelled against their Belgian officers who had no intention of abandoning their command. Crisis in the Congo took over the headlines in the world's press.
In diesem Wagen wurde der italienische Konsul in Leopoldville ermordet.
The Italian consul in Leopoldville was murdered in this car. Terror and destruction are now the features of a freedom which many believe to be premature. Whites are fleeing mobs who have been whipped up to anger. The Belgian government is sending paratroops into the Congo.
In the copper-rich province of Katanga, Lumumba's opponent, Chombi, called on the Belgians for help too, in order to disarm the troops. Less than 10 days after their withdrawal, colonial soldiers triumphantly returned to the former colony. René Small went to Katanga as an officer in the military secret service.
If it hadn't been for the courage of that small number of Belgian officers and NCOs in containing the blacks and preventing them from overrunning the town, then it would have been horrible.
The Elizabethville mutiny was over in 24 hours thanks to the Belgians.
The rebellion started on July 9th and lasted till the 10th. It was on the 11th at 5 p.m. that we declared independence.
This was the Katangan secession. Chombi, known locally as Mr. Cash Register, declared himself president of the separatist province. But he was a president installed by the Belgians.
Elizabethville was above all a center for important financial interests. That was where the Union Minière, the mining company, was. Obviously, Belgian financial circles also wanted to keep their hands on that.
One of the major figures in the breakaway state was the Minister of Finance, Jean-Baptiste Kiboué.
As soon as we took over, the mining company, l'Union Minière, continued to export copper, and the revenue from this went into the Katanga National Bank.
Chombi's chief aide was a Belgian lawyer, Jacques Bartelous.
The mining company now paid its taxes and license fees to the Katangan government, not to Leopoldville. So the Katangans had plenty of money, and this enabled them to equip the Katangan gendarmes and buy weapons and armored vehicles. There were arms merchants continually visiting Chombi's home to try and sell him arms.
Chombi's white mercenaries defending the free world in the heart of Africa soon became known as les affreux, literally the dreadful men. There was anger and disappointment at the breakaway in the Congolese capital, Leopoldville. The flag over the Belgian embassy was hauled down and the ambassador of the former colonial power sent home.
The plot was all ready and the plans prepared. They intend to impose a government against the wishes of the people. Belgium wants to balkanize this country, to break up the Congo.
Lumumba asked that American troops come in to replace the Belgians and throw the Belgians out. They talked to Ambassador Timberlake, who realized that if American troops came in, almost certainly then Russian troops would come in.